So this next little tutorial I'm going to do is the 1/8 voxel, and like I said before, this was actually previously created by someone else in a different fashion, and Kylen and the rest of the crew, they kind of figured out a new way of doing it. And if you don't know what a quarter voxel is, a quarter voxel is basically, or it's been called a quarter voxel, but it's not a quarter voxel. It's a 1/8 voxel, and it's these little Rubik's cube looking things like this. And you'll see one, I got one there, there's one up here on the board, and I know in one of my videos, one or two of my videos, I've used these things before. I'm about to show you how you can make your own. Now, there's a trick to this, and you have to take into account that the smaller you make this thing, the more accurate it's going to be. But the first thing we need to create is an anti-voxel. Alright, so first we're going to create this anti-voxel here, and we're going to use, let me change my color here so you can see this. I'm going to stack up a few voxels. I'm going to select that voxel, stack, and then I'm going to take my smooth tool and I'm going to hold control, and I'm going to smooth this down pretty much as smooth as I possibly can until it gets very, 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 very tiny, to the point where it almost disappears. And I did one regular smooth on it, so I've got it as almost as thin as I possibly can. There we go. Now it's tiny. Tiny and thin is what I'm after here, because the smaller you can make this, the better the outcome actually happens. Okay. The next thing we need to create is a micro voxel. So I'm going to take my add tool and I'm going to pull this up into the air, hit check. I'm going to select that voxel and I'm going to smooth it as well. And after I get it down pretty small, I'm going to hold my control key and I'm going to try to get it as small as I possibly can. Let me go ahead and zoom in here a little bit better so you can see this. I want this as tiny as I possibly can, and I don't even know if you can see that anymore, but there is a dot right there in the very center, and that's what I want. I want a very tiny dot. There it is.
Oh, that thing's huge.
Can you see that? Can you see this this dot?
Yeah, I'm not even full screen. I can see it fine.
It's freaking tiny as crap. But that is what I'm after. I'm after as tiny of a dot as I possibly can, because the smaller I can make this anti-voxel, the smaller I can make this micro voxel, the cleaner the outcome is going to be for the next little phase of this thing. So I've got my two little things created, and I made this floor black just so we don't lose it, okay? So, but there it is. We have our micro voxel and we have our anti-voxel here. Now the anti-voxel, what we're going to do is I need to grab this thing. Now I think it's a little bit, it's off shape here. I think it's a little bit way out of shape, so I might have to end up recreating this. And I believe I am, because it is like totally messed up here. So let's recreate this anti-voxel first. Because I need one that isn't all messed up. Alright, so there we go. Let's go ahead and grab this, and we're going to smooth this down again. I'm going to try to get this thing as small as I can. I think that might have been too much. God, I wish I could go in the first person and actually see this. I can work with this. I can work with this though. It's small enough that I think I can do it. I'm going to paste one, go to one side of it, paste, and then come to the other side of it and paste. I'm going to take my selection tool and I'm going to grab that little panel I have created there. I'm going to copy it. And now I'm going to come over here to this corner first, and I'm going to paste this in up in the air because I'm going to need to get under it as well. And I'm going to basically make a row of them like this. And this is kind of like the microvoxel panels that we created earlier. So I'm going to go across that top face a few times, and it looks like I eliminated that side, so let me back out, and I'm going to go around to all the sides and flatten it out to where it's just a standard voxel. Do this a few times on each side to make a regular panel. Oops, back out one more because I totally skipped one. There we go. And let's go underneath the bottom. Make sure that it is flat. I keep selecting something out in the distance there, so there we go. So now we have an actual little panel that I can work with. So let me select this. I'm going to do a copy, and I'm going to paste it over here where my microvoxel and my little string is at. I'll paste this in. Alright, let me get back on track here. Alright, so I have my little panel. Now I want to be able to bring out one side of that panel. So we're going to put them in a row this way. Like this. We're going to do that same technique on one side of it. I'm going to make sure that all the sides are staying flush as much as possible. But the one we're after is this center one, because usually if you're going to have a deformed one, it's going to be one of these outside ones. But the one we want is this one here in the center. So I'm going to select that one. We're going to copy it. And then I'm going to delete these that I already have sitting here because we're not going to need them anymore. Going to paste this one over here because these are all different steps of this here. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to take this anti-voxel, or excuse me, I need to zoom back in here. I need to get my little anti-voxel that's up in the air somewhere here. There it is. I'm going to take this anti-voxel and we're going to copy.
Hey, Tim, Ram's got a question for you. And hi, Periodo.
Well, he's going to have to wait just a little bit until I get this next section a little done here. Let's see. I remember now. Okay. I'm kind of getting sidetracked here. I apologize, guys. We're going to take that that voxel that I made the panel out of, which is this one. I'm going to paste it and bring it up into the air. And I'm going to try to explain here exactly what I've got. I literally have created a half voxel right here. And I want to make sure that this outside face is flush with a standard voxel. So I want to take my add tool and I'm going to place one right next to it onto the face that sits to the outside, like this. Then I'm going to take my selection tool and copy this one here on the outside, the original one. I'm going to copy that one. I'm going to replace this one over here so I have one that is clean on that one face. So we're going to paste that in there. You can see the difference. It literally changed the shape of the one that was existing here. So let's take this and let's go ahead and delete this out because I'm not going to need that anymore. So now I have this one that is a lot cleaner than the original one that I had. Now, I'm going to take this little voxel that I used to create the panel. I'm going to paste it. With some space in between each one of them. And I want to make sure that this is as flat as I can get it as well. So I'm going to just go across the top face of that anti-voxel. You can see, like I said, if there's any of them that goes bad, it's usually the ones that's on the end. And let's go ahead and select this and take a look at it and make sure that it is close as I possibly can to a full voxel thickness, and that looks pretty good. And we'll copy out the center. And I'm going to delete these out because I'm not going to need those anymore. Now, let's paste this up like so. Now this is where I go back to this one. I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to come over to this anti-voxel and paste. And the idea here is to line this up with that little anti-voxel. Come on. For some reason it's not letting me grab my handles here still. Let's bring this up like so. And hopefully you can see this here. I have that corner face right here, which is going to be lined up. If you could actually see this voxel, it does like this, goes up and then comes back over. So this is the actual physical shape of the voxel itself, even though this is all you actually see. I want that center little corner of this voxel to be in line with that anti-voxel, and I'm going to click check. And you can see how it pulled it into that one corner like this. Now I'm going to take this voxel and I'm going to rotate it. So I'm going to bring this back up, tilde, rotate, tab, and then I'm going to place it right here for the next point, and I'm going to paste. As you can see, it's got a little misshape in there, but we can clean that up just a bit just by using our line tool. bring this in and try to flatten it out just by going back and forth. There we go. It cleaned up kind of good. And I'm going to need to get underneath of it as well, so this is going to be kind of awkward. But the cleaner we can keep these shapes, the better. Alright, so we got that pretty clean as we possibly can. Now let me go ahead and repaint this another texture so you can see what has basically happened. We have this right here is now a quarter voxel because we have basically taken that center point and stretched it out to meet those two voxels that we've actually placed there. So it's literally like this. So this is what we're pulling out of this little configuration here. So let me copy that out and I'm going to paste it right over here. So now we have a panel, we have a microvoxel, we have the half voxel, we have a quarter voxel. Now we want to turn that quarter voxel into an eighth of a voxel, which is the next step. So let me take this and I'm going to cut this and I'm going to move this out of the way because we're not going to need this anymore. Alright, so we got that. And let's go ahead and get this out of the way as well, so I can have the middle of my floor for this next step. All right. Now, so we have that quarter voxel now. Now we're going to do similarly the same technique. Except this time we're going to use that microvoxel. So let's grab that and hopefully I can put it where I can see it. Alright, and it's really kind of hard to tell, but there it is. It's like literally at the very tip of my mouse here. There is a microvoxel that we created earlier. Very teeny tiny. And with it sitting there, I want to come over and grab this and make sure you actually are looking at that voxel and you can tell where the shape of it actually is for the solid piece, because when we get it next to this microvoxel, we're going to want to know where that is so we can actually put it exactly where it needs to be. So let's grab this voxel here and we'll copy it. And once we get the first paste in, we should be pretty good to go for the rest of it, because we'll be able to tell exactly how to deal with this. But the hard part is actually putting it in place, I think. So, and of course they still haven't fixed the little bug with the mouse over thing. So let me make sure I am where I need to be on this. Now that microvoxel resides in the very center of a voxel space, and what we're putting in here isn't in line with it. It's literally going to be offset, so you'll have like the box is going to be here and then your microvoxel is going to be here, but it's going to be pretty much in line with this corner for the microvoxel. So the microvoxel is here and the box is going to be here, but that microvoxel is literally going to go and suck down to that quarter voxel. So we have it pretty much in line, and let's see if we've got it. Perfect. So this is what you're after. So we've pulled from that center point down to our little square here that's on the top of our quarter voxel. And let's go ahead and paint that. Go back to my gray so you can see this. All right. And now let's go ahead and paste in the next one. And we're going to rotate it onto the side and paste. So you can actually see this. I'm going to kind of go around it so you can see what I've done here. It literally has created like an upside down L shape. Now, the next side we're going to put it on is this side over here. If you look at the actual shape of it, there's like an indentation over here. This is the side that I want to paste the next one on. So let's V. Let's bring this up. And we're going to rotate it. Tab. Rotate until we get it over on the opposing side. That way we can actually get this in line where we need it, right here. I'm going to paste in that corner. So if I look at it this way, you can see the shape that I have kind of created here. It's like a kind of a misshapen little T shape here. All right. Now with it still in this kind of format, we're going to go back over it, and you can see if I take my little line tool and I just hover over this, you can see kind of how this actual shape is in the actual voxel shape. Let's go to my selection and I grab that. You can see it's literally a quarter, or excuse me, a 1/8 voxel here. I'm going to copy that out. Let me back off a little. I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to mirror it, paste it. That won't work, so let's back out. Mirror it, rotate, paste. I'm doing it wrong here. Hold on a second.
Mirror it north-south and paste it south.
Yeah, I'm doing it wrong here. It's all good. There we go. V. V. V.
And now go down.
Yeah, from here I can just copy the whole entire thing. So, and hopefully this will, let me paint my corners here. I'll copy it, paste it, mirror it, bring it down twice, and paste. And paint out my regular corners. And let's go back to a white, and you can actually see the shape here.
Nice if you could turn on grid lines or something.
Yeah. So, but there you go. You have quarter voxel shapes here that actually come out looking pretty decent. So or excuse me, 1/8 voxel. So there we go. And just so you can see this is a 2 by 2 by 2, and it literally takes up a single voxel on the inside, and you can actually do all kinds of things with this Rubik's Cube. But that is a way to create your own. Ba-dam!